Hello and welcome. Can you tell how excited I am today? That is because I am interviewing the one and only Col Gray. Col Gray is the creative genius behind Pixels Inc., a graphic and brand design company based in Dundee. He makes magic with pixels. And when he's not playing Pixel Maker, he's entertaining the fans as a rock and metal DJ. Tell me that you're not excited to meet him. Let's do it. Hi, Col, and welcome to this interview. Thank you so much for agreeing to do it. You're one of the coolest people I know. I've got the skull scarf out just for you.
You're looking very rocker today.
I had to make an effort. I'm the most unrocker person there is, so I dug out the scarf especially. How are you?
Thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure to speak to you.
Likewise. So this is why I invited you on. You are as I said, one of the coolest graphic designers I know, but your YouTube channel has been amazing. Like, as somebody who creates graphics, like, I'm not a professional at all.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much from it. So I wanted to invite you on, and the first thing I have to ask you is, what is it about graphic design that you love so much? Because that's something that really comes across, your passion for what it is that you do.
I've always been drawing and stuff ever since I was a kid. But I'll be honest, I can't draw. And that's, I think, what people confuse graphic designers with people that can draw. I'm terrible at drawing. My life drawing classes at university and stuff, really bad. But I've always loved design, and I've always loved sort of looking at design. And to be honest, I'm a people person, and I find design makes people happy. If you give them, if they're looking for something and you give them it, and it's just the look on their face when you've done a good job for them, it's the best feeling in the world. And I'm very much a people pleaser, sometimes to my detriment, but that's pretty much it. Yeah, design's just always been there for me. It's always been a good fallback. And yeah, just love it.
That's wonderful.
Love it for me, love it for other people.
Yeah, I think that's something that really comes across too, that your love for people. It's always funny because, like, people pleasing seems to be one of those things where people almost see it as a weakness, but it's also your biggest strength, because it means you're delivering something that, people really buy into, which is a huge part of branding, right? Like, a huge part of that.
It is. You've got to connect with people.
Exactly. So I think that this is where there's a little bit of confusion, because people still think of branding. If you say, what's branding? It's your logo and your name.
Yeah.
Right. So given that your first answer, and it's about people and it's about connecting with people, how would you define branding?
You're right. You've hit the nail on the head, and that people do think it is. They think branding is purely visual, and it's not. Jeff Bezos from Amazon probably said it better when he said, your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So yes, you could have your logo sitting on a board in a room, but it doesn't say anything about you. What are they saying about you? And when I say you could be a one-person business, or you could be a massive global company. They will still talk about you, whether it's an individual or not. So it's every single touch point that you have with your customers. Did you answer the phone on Monday morning in a grumpy mood because you don't like Monday mornings? That's going to affect your brand. Is there space in your car park when they turn up to have a meeting with you? Is it going to annoy them if they've got to go and pay for parking rather than, it's every single thing is your brand. The logo is what I would class as a visual trigger for your brand. So they'll see your logo, and what they will do is they will either go, oh, they were lovely on the phone the other day, or they'll go, oh, that's that person. They were so grumpy when they were on the phone. Your logo's a trigger, and you need it to trigger nice thoughts. So the only way you can do that is to have nice touch points. I hate using the word touch point. I hate using buzzwords, but sometimes they come out, especially when you're being interviewed, you get all business. But, so touch points, basically anytime you meet someone or they have an interaction with your brand, whether it be through a product or a service, or one of your staff or whatever. So brand is huge. Brand isn't your brochure, brand isn't your flyer, brand isn't your business card. That's just a small part of it. Brand is, I think I did a video the other day, you know, saying on my channel, saying, what is the key to your brand? What's the key thing in your brand? And the answer was you. You're the key thing in your brand. You control it all. You're the one that sets the tone of how it will be. So you need to get it right, and then everything else will come from that. So
yeah, that's huge. It's a totally different way of thinking of it, right? Because really it's like the whole experience that you're providing. I know I had Ali McGill on a few weeks ago, and he was talking about customer experience, and a lot of what you're saying is tying into that as well.
There's huge crossover between mine and Ali's disciplines.
Yeah.
Between the two of us. And it's just, I mean, you know, I'm a designer, so I would, you know, people just presume I'm going to push design all the time. But I've had clients come to me where they're not ready for the design, and we've ended up just talking about what strategy they need to do before they get to the design. And sometimes, you know, people think the logo is the first thing they need, but you could start your business, and 2 years down the line, it'll have completely changed because you've evolved as your business. Maybe this is what we'll do. So sometimes getting a logo at the start isn't a great thing. Sometimes you should start going and then visit a designer once you're solidified in what your brand is. You've got a better idea by that point. Talking myself out of the job, but you know.
No, but you're right, because how many times, like, it's one of the biggest things. I was exactly the same getting started. I was like, I have to have a business name, I have to have a logo, like, this is the most important thing. And it's like what you were saying, you establish your brand as who you are and the overall experience you provide, that emotional connection. So that almost, I feel like your brand comes over time and is developed over time based on what you're saying.
It is. Some people at the very beginning will have a solid picture of how they want their brand to be, and that's great. But some people, if they come to speak to me, and they're like, well, I'm not sure, maybe I want to have some staff later on, maybe it'll just be me. And you're like, well, you're not really sure. If we design a brand identity now to represent you as your business, and then in 2 years, 3 years time, you bring staff on, how do you see your brand changing, if at all? Will it stay the same message, same ethos, or will you try to bring in the personalities of the staff? That will change your brand. So it's these kinds of questions you need to ask at the start before you take on board any project. There's a lot that needs to be done. It's not just pencils on paper. There you go, there's a lovely picture for you, why don't you take that? And some people are happy with that, but that's not a good service from a designer. The designer should really ask some tough questions, and if the client isn't ready, the client should be told, you're not ready for a brand mark yet. You know, go away and have a rethink, and then come back. Do it that way.
That's the best way, though. It's like it comes back to serving versus selling, and ultimately you're providing value to them, even if you say to them, you need to go away and think about this stuff, but you're not ready for that yet.
It's valuable in itself.
Exactly.
They may not have spent money or a large amount of money, whether it's a consultation fee or whatever, but it's better to not, spend a massive budget and then 2 years down the line, or even 6-12 months down the line, go, oh my God, we need to change this. This isn't us. So,
I guess this is like that, where that quote comes in, where it's like, I think if you think it's expensive to hire a professional, try hiring an amateur. A lot of people are spending money sort of like on Fiverr and other places, getting like the cheap version. And then, as you say, later down the line, you're kind of stuck. I tend not to get into the sort of the Fiverr and 99 Designs discussions, because I'm on a bit of a crusade to try and get the public at large to value graphic design as a professional service. I think over the years, with everybody and their
nephew getting a copy of Photoshop and, you know, saying, well, I'm not going to pay that. I'll get Stephen to do it. You know, he's got some design stuff. And it's making, you know, it's getting graphic designers to be put in the same bracket as chartered accountants, or, you know, it's an important service for your business. It's not just pretty pictures. And I think some of the, don't get me wrong, Fiverr and stuff is good for certain things, and I do encourage some of my clients to go and use Fiverr, because, you know, some of the things is not worth paying a lot of money for when they're just little things that you need. You know, you maybe need a Facebook cover image or something like that. Fiverr's great for that type of thing, but I would never say use it for your brand, for a brand identity. It might look great. Ooh, unlimited design choices and concepts for $29.
Yeah,
I would be running a mile at that. I just would. It's just not right.
yeah. So, with that being said, because we all know you should definitely hire a professional graphic designer if you can. But for businesses who maybe are starting out and that are watching this and are thinking, oh, I've got to think about more than a logo, but I don't really have money to go and hire a professional, even if I do value them. What would you say to them getting started, or especially if they're kind of like bootstrapping it and trying to do it themselves?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously, I would say my first piece of advice would be to hire a professional. But if you haven't got the budget, the first thing I would say, the second thing I would say to someone is what we've mentioned before, is don't rush into it. Give yourself 3, 6, 12 months, and over that time, keep setting aside some money. Treat it as a proper part of your business plan. And it might be that, you know, 9, 12 months down the road, you've saved up enough and you've got a clearer image in that. But really, if money is that tight, then I would say that you should still find a designer that would do a brand consultation with you. They may still charge a fee for that, and it's becoming a more popular service for a lot of designers, because it means that you can still give valuable information to the client, so that they're not going away and making a mistake. So I would say speak to a designer and see if they'll offer a strategy session or something, an hour, even an hour or a half day would be really helpful to anyone that's thinking, I can't really afford, you know, for that service. And also shop around. There are professional designers out there that don't charge a huge amount. There are some that charge thousands and thousands and thousands. But there will be reasons for that. And the people that are charging thousands and thousands and thousands aren't just doing it because they feel they can. They will have the expertise and the backup to say, and you'll probably know as soon as you start speaking to them, whether they know what they're talking about or not. And always just ask to look at their portfolio. And if you can, ask to speak to some of the clients. How have they felt the branding process went for them? That's really as good as you're going to get. So just don't just run away and go, I'll do it myself. Yeah. Speak to the designer. I'm sure most of them will be more than happy to help. And as you say, it's more of a service thing than a selling thing. For the designer to be able to give the advice and you maybe go away and you think about it, chances are you probably will go back to that designer. So they're doing well by you because they hope that you will do well by them in the long run. If you don't come back, from my perspective, if the client doesn't come back, at least I know I've done the right thing and I've given them good advice. So whoever they go to, they should, have enough information to get a good service from whoever they go with. And so, yeah, that's what I would say in that instance.
It's really, really interesting because, first off, I think that even if they don't come back to you, I think when you treat your customers in that way and genuinely show you care and are honest and are transparent in things, they might not go to you, but they'll still maybe recommend you to friends.
That's happened.
Huge. Yeah. That's happened.
Yeah, that's totally happened. And I've had some great clients, some large clients from that. Because they've got, everyone's, it's the networking thing or non-networking. You're building good karma with people and it comes back to you. If you build bad karma by trying to rip people off, that'll come back to you as well. So you've just got to know that you're doing the right thing. And you might be on bread and water for the next couple of months, but you know that you've done the right thing, and you should sort of reap the rewards of that in the future. It's just it's sometimes it's a waiting game sometimes, but I think the slow, for me with my business, my business is 11 years old, and it's been a slow curve, a slow curve. Just in the last year though, that curve's starting to kind of peak up, because I've built long-term relationships with people who aren't paying clients, but they've referred people to me because they get on well with me, and I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, wonderful. It's like that customer lifetime value thing, right? I think it's two different approaches to business, and you can see very clearly the people that attract, you attract your tribe, as they say in things.
Yeah.
But it's like people that adopt it from a place of they're not interested in making lots of money for the sake of making lots of money. They usually have a passion and they want to serve people, and the fact that they can monetize it is wonderful, but it's like focused on the long-term clients and making sure that you really do good by them.
And surrounding yourself as well, not with just the right clients, but surrounding yourself with the right people. And we're kind of in that, and I've only really done that in the past sort of, no disrespect to anyone that's known me for longer than 2 years. I don't mean it that way, but in a business, I found the right business group for me, and it's just made me do things like YouTube channels and blogs and things, which I would never have done. I wouldn't have had the confidence to do it. So the support that you get from it, and it's made a massive difference. I'm talking to you. I'm being interviewed. So it's these little things that, it makes you go, I've done this the right way. It's been slow, but I've done it the right way. There's no sort of things behind that.
I think that's huge. I think it's huge when it comes to branding. I know that one of the biggest things that I've heard when people come to me is like, I had a web designer, or I had a graphic designer, and they just disappeared, and I spent all this money, and it's like, you just haven't found the right one. Once you find the right people to surround yourself with, it's huge. So I think that you really summed it up really, really well, in the fact that, most people would say not most, I don't want to make this assumption, a lot of people would give cheap options, and you're saying, you know what, hang off, because it's better if you're going to do it right.
Yeah.
If you had to give one tweetable piece of advice, if you had to sum up everything or pick on one point that we've kind of discussed, what would that be?
Just be conscious of your brand, of you. Just be conscious what you're doing when you're going out and networking or not networking. Just try to be helpful. Helpful brands are the best brands.
That's tweetable right there.
It's just, it's like I said about the logo being the trigger. You want, when someone sees your logo, you want them to have that little inner smile. They may not go, they're a great brand. They'll just go, they're good. They're good guys. That's what you want, from it. And I've got one little note here that I just want to say as well, because I don't want to leave people thinking that, I've got to use a professional. When we talked about, what would someone do if they really couldn't afford to go, and they were adamant that they want to get a logo done, I would say my one piece of advice would be, don't try, if you're going to do it yourself, don't try and do what most people would think is a logo, which is an icon. People try to be too clever with that, and if you've not got the skills and you're not trained as a designer, it'll come off really badly. So what to do is just pick a nice font, just pick a nice typeface, and write your business name in a nice typeface, maybe a secondary typeface for a tagline, and stick with that for a year or two. Then you'll have those 2 years of finding your feet, knowing what your brand is, and then go to designer and get your brand mark done. So just a font is known as a word mark, and if you want a little icon with it, then that's a brand mark. And so a word mark would be like Coca-Cola, Facebook, or Google. They're all really distinctive, because some people might think, I'm not just using a font, that's boring. But it can still be totally identical. Mine's is just a font because I didn't want to overcomplicate it. You know, it's me. That there right away is I don't have a clever icon to attract business. That's where the whole helpful service comes in. People know, they look at, they see the word PI or Pixels Inc. and I like to think that they've got that little, he's a good guy.
Yeah. It's that thing again where, you know, brands develop over time, right? So what starts as what you think of as just a font or whatever, it can become anything. Look at Coca-Cola. It is huge. People don't ever say it's just a font.
No, it's, you know, it's marketed in its billions, you know, it's just, it's, your logo will never be instantly recognizable when you create it. It takes years to build up the brand recognition. So don't, you know, you don't have that super clever, oh, look, there's a hidden mammoth in that logo or whatever it is. And it can just be really simple because it's about what you do with the brand that gets the recognition. It's not necessarily about the logo. The logo helps. If you can have a really nice logo that helps trigger a message or whatever, then that's great as well. But logos can be very straightforward, and then you can develop it as you go on. Just don't be Pepsi compared to Coca-Cola.
Good piece of advice.
Pepsi don't know what they are. They're the choice of a new generation, and then they're not, and then they are, and they're something else. You know, have a clearer message than Pepsi.
Such good advice. Everything you shared is such good advice. Thank you so much. I do have one final question. It's the most important question that I have to ask, because when I think of Col Gray, when I think of Pixels Inc. and any of the branding, I think of two things. I think of the cap and I think of the beard. I should have brought my hair extensions out, so I had my
you should have brought,
That's what I should have done. So I have to ask you, if you had to give up the cap, and we know what's underneath the cap, if you had to give up the cap or you had to give up the beard for 6 months, what would you choose?
Cap.
You give up the cap and you keep the beard. Good choice. Good choice.
Because after 6 months, I can put a cap straight back on my head again.
Yeah.
I shave this off. That's 4 years of having a regrow.
Hard work. I should have said forever. That's what I should have changed.
Yeah, I see. Well, you can't change it in 6 months.
Can't go back on it now. Okay. Good answer. Thank you so much, Col, for all of your advice. I had such a good time, and you just shared so much goodness. I know that everybody that is watching this is going to first want to connect with you on YouTube, because it is an amazing YouTube channel and everyone should go and subscribe to it. But also, if there's other places that people, well, where should people connect with you? Where are you most active on social media?
I'm most active on Facebook. I should be less active on Facebook. I'm trying to get into Twitter. I've never been a big Twitter user, but I'm starting to get into that a bit more now. I think now that I've got my YouTube channel and blogging, I've got content to share, whereas before I didn't really have much content. I wasn't giving anything out. It was only when I had client meetings. They were getting all the content face to face. So now I'm starting to use Twitter a bit more. But yeah, pretty much Facebook and Twitter are the place to go.
Awesome.
Right now. But if you really want to get my attention, leave a comment on one of my YouTube videos, because there's not much happening there just now. So I'll definitely speak to you if you leave a comment on one of my videos.
There you go. Heard it here first. Yeah. Plug. We'll make sure that all the links are in there. You really should.
Pretty much if you look for Pixels Col on most of the platforms, that's generally the username that I go with. So you'll find me.
Thank you so much. I want to end this in a cool way. Is this what I'm supposed to do if I'm a rocker? This. Yeah.
Don't show your thumb.
Don't show my thumb.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Col, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.
You're welcome.